In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Pablo Jill for the original Trilogy collection, ironically, since he is a Jedi from the prequel trilogy. So this is another Jedi character I've been wanting to add him to my collection for many years now at this point. So most people would agree, myself included, that the definitive version of him is probably from the Black Series 3 3/4 line back in 2013. And I do recall seeing that at Walmart one time in person back in 2013, but I ended up passing up on him. I ended up getting both Mara Jade and just Mara Jade at the time. Uh, Part of me thinks back on it, it's like, oh, I really wish I got Pablo Jill for $10 at the time. But even though he's a Jedi I've wanted for my collection, he's not one where I feel like, oh, I really have to have him. And judging by the prices he goes for now for the Black Series action figure, it's usually like 60 USD plus. It's a little bit more than I'm willing to pay for Pablo Jill. But this original trilogy collection action figure, I never saw it back in 2005 when he was released, just before Revenge of the Sith. But many years later, I ended up discovering this action figure, and the more I looked at pictures of this one online, I thought, it looks pretty much just as good as the Black Series action figure. Sure, he's probably not as articulated, and he has a plastic robe instead of soft goods, but he pretty much serves the purpose that you're going to need him for, is like a Jedi standing in the background. And he's much cheaper, because I only paid about $18 for this recently. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get this version of Pablo Jill instead. I would say it's about 80% as good as the Black Series action figure in many ways. It looks like a great action figure aesthetically. Sure, he's probably not as articulated and all those points I just mentioned, but it's good enough for what he is. Very interesting Jedi at that as well. So here's the package. Pablo Jill. You can see the Geonosis arena in the background there. And I used to own the arena from back in 2002. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore, but I do hope to track that down again at some point, especially now since I have lots of characters that would be able to populate it. Back in 2002 when I got it, I didn't. So I just kind of had to make up my own storyline with it, but now I think I would have a lot of fun with it. Very interesting design for a species there, with the eyes down here and the mouth where normally you would think a forehead would be. You can almost look at Pablo Jill upside down like this, and the head looks a little bit more right like that. Pretty interesting. And one thing I will mention about Pablo Jill is, from my understanding, in Attack of Clones, he was entirely made by CGI. There was no actor in a costume or anything like that. Of course, he was another blink and you miss character where he only showed up for like 2 seconds at the Battle of Geonosis, and that was pretty much it. But I'm sure in the expanding universe, there's a lot more stories with him. But at this time, at the time of this video, I have not really gone back and read up on it. But I think I will probably be doing that here soon, especially now that I have the action figure. But Geonosis Arena. And for the description there, the heroic Jedi Knight Pablo Jill is stationed at the Jedi Temple in Coruscant. He is one of the courageous Jedi who who go to Geonosis to help rescue Obi-Wan Kenobi from the evil Separatist forces at the first battle of the Clone Wars. Like all Jedi, he uses a lightsaber for defense and combat and is skilled in the ways of the Force. And here he is in pretty much his one scene in the film. Action figure here. 6 other action figures featured from the time, which I do have a few of these reviewed on the channel, like Slide More, for instance, and Yaroua. And I would like to get all 4 of these at some point. Rabe, or Rabe, is not very expensive. I do recall seeing this Cantina Patron in stores back in 2005. Mayo here, I don't really recall seeing. I think he went fairly quickly. But I would like to get him as well for the Cantina. And Queen Amidala, always nice to have more of her. And then the original Tartakovsky Yoda here. This is very iconic for me. Go Evil to StarWars.Hasbro.com. Don't think it really exists anymore, but that was a great site to go to back in the day. Same with Hyperspace here, the fan club that went along with it. And he's figure number 1 for 2005. Interesting. But anyways, I'll go ahead and get Pablo Jill open here off screen. We'll take a closer look at him. So I think I made a great decision getting this version of Pablo Jill. He's a fantastic action figure. You can pretty much get him in most of the poses that you're going to want him in anyway. And even the Black Series action figure of him, even though that one's articulated, you can only get him in so many poses anyway because of the way his shape is with like his legs. It's almost like he's bow-legged. And just his overall sculpt, it would be hard to get him in some extreme dynamic poses anyway. But the great thing about this action figure is that he can hold the lightsaber with 2 hands. That's something I definitely appreciate. So I'll show this off real quick. I've pretty much showed it off on the channel before, but it's been a little bit, so we'll just take a look at it briefly again. Just some of the other action figures from the original Trilogy collection. Some of them I do have featured on the channel, like the R2 and C-3PO there. Han Solo I do. That Stormtrooper I will be doing a video of here probably within the next month or two. TIE Fighter Pilot I do have a video of on channel. And this Boba Fett you'll be seeing here very soon as well. And for the vehicles, I used to own this Millennium Falcon. At this point, it's hard to say. I do hope to get another Millennium Falcon at some point, but I'm debating between either the big Millennium Falcon from the Legacy Collection or go back to get this one. We'll see what happens when that time comes. The TIE Fighter, I would like to get that one. And the X-Wing, to be honest, I'm perfectly happy with the X-Wing I have. And if I do get another one, I'd rather get like Biggs X-Wing from the Vintage Collection 2013. And there's that kind of Yoda again. But that's pretty much all there is. I do miss getting the pamphlets like that from Hasbro. Would be nice if they still did that. So look at that head sculpt there. Extremely detailed. You can see his eyes. Very interesting pupils he has. It's very slanted. And his mouth. Very nice detail in that as well. You can basically see his gums and his teeth there. Be interesting to see how he would try and eat. But very interesting character designs. That's what I really like about a lot of the prequel Jedi. Especially the background Jedi is the various designs that have been made over the years. I forget the exact name of his species, but I'm sure that's a very easy look up on like Wikipedia, for instance. Like I said, I have never really looked into Pablo Jill's character very much, but now that I have his action figure, I definitely will be doing some more reading about him. So for the rest of his outfit here, it's pretty typical for Jedi tunic. Looks pretty good and does have a tan color. Now for his pants here, I'm wondering if that's yellowed. It's very hard to tell. I'm kind of led to believe it is yellowed a little bit. But it's not the end of the world. I look at this action figure from a little bit of a distance and it doesn't automatically strike to me that, oh, he's yellowed. But perhaps down the road I can correct that. See his robe here is plastic, and you can take the robe off, but there's not really a need to because the sleeves are molded to his arms. So if you do take the robe off, of course it will look very odd. For his hands, very nice design in that as well. You can see his fingers there. Looks like he has 4 fingers. Does hold the lightsaber pretty good in his hands. You can see the belt there. I don't think he can accommodate, yeah, he can't accommodate an extra hilt or anything like that. But this lightsaber doesn't have a peg on the hilt anyway, so it's okay. And as I mentioned, for his legs, very interesting design for that. But you can see his boots there. In terms of articulation, I think he's pretty good for articulation, but he does have a ball joint at the head. Very nice range of motion there as well. You can pretty much get him in most poses that you want him in anyway. You can pretty much look all the way up and all the way down, which is pretty good for the time. And he does have swivel shoulders, and then swivel elbows, swivel wrists, and as you can see at the earlier on in the video, you can't hold the lightsaber in two hands, which is a pretty neat thing. It does have a swivel waist, but you're not going to get a whole lot out of that because of the plastic robe. And then he does have swivel hips, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. But for a background Jedi, or a Jedi that you're probably going to have most likely standing in the background filling out the rest of your Jedi display, this is pretty much all the articulation he needs anyway. And I think it's pretty good for the time. In terms of accessories, if you do count his removable robe, like I said, it doesn't really serve much purpose. And for the lightsaber here, pretty standard hilt. Doesn't really look too unique, but it could be unique to him. And he does have the removable blade. I think this was probably one of the last action figures that actually featured this, because I know by 2005 this was starting to go away at this point. Definitely by 2006 you really didn't see it so much anymore. It is a little bent. That is from being in the package for 20 years now. It does feel good to get him out of his plastic prison at last. Perhaps I'll have to fix that saber. And because he is original Trilogy collection, he does come with one of these display stands as well, which I am grateful for. I think he might be, yeah, he can stand pretty good on his own, and his plastic rope does help stand him up a little bit. But, just to give that extra support, it is nice to have the stand. It is one of those things I wish Hasbro would still do. I don't think we're ever going to get stands from them ever again. Unless it was like a special release all on its own. See the folds in his robe here. Looks pretty good. Same with the hood. And come to think of it, I wonder if he is seen at the Jedi Temple earlier in Attack of the Clones instead of just being at the arena. I would have to go back and check. And because all of his arm articulation is on a swivel, you do have to be kind of particular about how you get him to hold the lightsaber in both hands, and of course his blade keeps wanting to pop out on me. So just be careful, you don't want that peg to break. Yeah, very nice. I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about Pablo Jill here. Here he is with some various Jedi. Dirge in the background. Mostly Attack of the Clones characters. I do hope to do a Jedi display video at some point. But that will be a pretty large video. Someday I will do that. But would I recommend this Pablo Jill for your collection? I definitely would. If you don't have a Pablo Jill in your collection, you can't go wrong with having this one. Similar to other action figures I've talked about before, like Tarkin, for instance, this is basically like the more budget Pablo Jill. If the Black Series one is a little bit expensive for you, this one is a great alternative, and I think it's pretty much your only alternative. Between the two action figures, I think that's it. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other times Hasbro's made Pablo Jill over the years. But there's not really a need to revisit him. Both action figures are perfect for what they are. And I'm very happy to have this one. Definitely plan on tracking more of the obscure Jedi down here within the near future, hopefully, like Coleman Trebor, the Dinosaur Jedi, and some of the other ones from the Geonosis arena as well. But Pablo Jill is a great start here. Very thankful to have him in my collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for playing more in the future. There's always more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. And check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. And as always, thanks for watching.